Do you think that making games is a fun and enjoyable process? Or will your lifelong passion of creating games be exploited by large companies? The same corporations which make multi-million dollar profits every year, but reward your hard work with an unjust salary and unpaid overtime. Well, this is the harsh reality of being a game developer. The video game industry attracts some of the world's most talented and imaginative individuals, and they are all driven to produce experiences that are similar to the video games that first kindled their passion for the medium. They arrive with false expectations that they are going to have the idea about the Game of the Year AAA project and will oversee the entire creation. Sadly, the reality shows that this isn't what the majority of game developers are doing in their day-to-day schedules. People forget that games are actually a product intended to be sold, and in order for that to happen, all costs need to be weighed and calculated so that there is a profit at the end. But yes, you as an employee are also part of that equation, and companies are constantly wagering ways to keep the costs low, even if that could mean laying you off. Although game developers are expected to work hard and long hours, are they treated and compensated appropriately in comparison to other technical fields? There aren't many advantages that came from the development of games. Gaming enthusiasts are so plentiful, demand for every role is extremely high, and every year thousands of recent college or university graduates search for entry-level positions. This makes job hunting stressful, taxing, and highly competitive, ultimately ruining the magic about the game development fairy tale people have been fed. Allow us to familiarize you with what you could expect from working in the game sector. Getting started in the gaming industry can be a challenging endeavor, with unique obstacles to overcome depending on your career path you choose. The games industry is a notoriously competitive field. Each domain, whether it be design, programming, art, or QA, calls for a distinct set of abilities and a certain strategy to go alongside it. Even though it's not required, many game studios are starting to specify that junior roles require a games-orientated degree in their job descriptions. If you don't have the educational background to back up your skills, you're going to need a fitting role portfolio. Once you actually set foot in the industry, you must be aware of other potential problems. Unbeknownst to many is that some of the largest games you have played were released with the help of contractors. With some contractors, they could earn a reasonably good living. The reality is that most of them are unpaid and don't have almost any benefits compared to actual employees. This temporary position lacks paid time off, insurance, and longer work hours compared to regular employees. Many talented workers are struggling to find a full-time employment contract with larger studios because it is roughly 30% cheaper and less legally bound for the companies to keep them as contractors. Unfortunately, the contract usually is for a short duration, and once it's over, the contractor is laid off. This path is very volatile because people are promised a potential full-time position only to be rejected for it at the end of their contract. So if you make it this far, read through your contract carefully and try to negotiate a better deal that will benefit you in the long run. Be it a contractor or an employee, an argument can be made about the unreasonable low salary throughout the whole gaming industry. If we focus only on the game development sector, you can notice that wages in the largest studios in the States can drastically vary. Some might think that the studios with thousands of employees, such as Blizzard, is a top-tier paying workplace. Unfortunately, this can't be further away from the reality. When compared to other large companies such as Riot Games, Bungie, Ubisoft, and others, working for the studio behind your favorite games is not always the most profitable choice one can make. It's worth highlighting the difference between the gaming industry compared to the software industry, since the skills are transferable. Gaming jobs in general are more sought after by potential employees due to the higher creative atmosphere and passion for games. Usually, you might be thinking, higher supply equals higher competition, which equals higher salaries. Then, my friend, you are wrong. Games as a product are a little riskier because their success lies in the audience. The profit a studio makes comes mainly from the number of copies the particular game has sold. As shown in these examples, it can be seen that a Blizzard engineer makes significantly less in the corresponding level position when compared to a software engineer at Google. An entry-level engineer at Blizzard can make around $91,000 annually, while an entry employee at Google will make around $139,000 if we don't include the bonuses, which, in our opinion, shouldn't be neglected. The difference gets even more drastic the more experienced the worker is. Also, game developers experience more layoffs and work longer hours than software engineers. While we are still on that note, crunch culture is an infamous phrase natural for the games development industry. Many employees are made to work ridiculous hours only to reach the deadline. In most cases, the companies aren't officially asking the employees to put in these hours, but fear of being laid off for not meeting a deadline can be a huge motivator. Whilst nearing the release date, the studio becomes a living space for most developers, as many are putting in more than 60 hours per week. The atmosphere changes, there is a lot more stress involved, and coffee is depleted. This crunch period takes months and sometimes years, and employees are looking forward to the release so that they can take a well-deserved break. Unfortunately, recent game releases show that most games are delayed. Whilst on the outside, people may think that this will give some breathing time for developers, in most cases, this prolongs the crunch of the overworked and unpaid staff. But developers will need weeks and sometimes months to recover from this process. Better planning can prevent crunch, however, game development is a highly iterative process, and planning for a product that is due for a constant change can turn out to be tough. Game developers fear the uncertainty of this sector, as most of them could be laid off at any moment so that the company can cut costs. Activision Blizzard announced in February 2019 that it was cutting off about 800 workers, or about 8% of its workforce. The corporation justified the layoffs by stating that it needed to reorganize its operations to give priority to investments in its core franchises. Also, the iconic Halo franchise game studio 343 Industries revealed in April 2020 that it was laying off an unspecified number of staff members in response to the ongoing pandemic. The corporation expressed the need to adjust and synchronize resources. In many cases, having a release project is a requirement for a mid and senior job position in the gaming industry. However, the development of some games can take several years. Imagine being a new employee starting right at the beginning of development, working your ass off for years only to have it cancelled by higher ups. If you are unlucky and get laid off, the company may do this to save costs, leaving you without a released AAA project in your portfolio, making life incredibly challenging whilst trying to reapply for either mid or higher level roles within the industry. Recruiters may question your skills if they cannot judge your previous work. And while game design or coding tests can provide some insight into your abilities, they are usually administered later in the interview process. Presenting previous work is a significant part of securing a job early on, but not having a release project and being unable to disclose your contribution due to non-disclosure agreements can make this very difficult. In such situations, relying on previous personal projects becomes necessary, but this makes it a lot harder if you're trying to do that within your spare time, hence the crunch time that you need to put in to your working full-time job. You're not going to have time to go and do personal projects within your free time. These are just problems that are on the surface level for most game companies. The gaming industry is also known for having a toxic work environment, particularly in larger studios. There have been several reported cases of discrimination and harassment based on gender, race, and sexuality in recent years. Additionally, there have been instances where female employees were denied promotions because they may require maternity leave in the future and could be absent for extended periods. Despite progress made by various organizations that focus on combating workplace discrimination, these issues persist in the industry. However, some game studios are taking steps to protect their employees and improve the workplace culture. Developing games can be a thrilling and enjoyable experience that may lead to creating a popular game and gaining widespread recognition. However, it is crucial to acknowledge the significant risks associated with the industry. A successful game can provide a fantastic opportunity to showcase one's skills to a broader audience and be proud of one's accomplishment. The other side of the coin is the possibility of losing a beloved job after investing substantial time and effort. Large game companies can easily exploit their employees' passion for the industry by requiring long hours of work whilst providing very low pay. To rub salt in the wound, the game dev career comes with a great level of instability due to its frequent layoffs and cancelled projects. But this video is not here to destroy your dreams of becoming a game developer. In fact, it's quite the opposite. Despite saying everything that we've said within this video, if your dream is still to become a game developer, you have a much higher chance than most people as long as you have work experience to back it up, or at least an education. For you to get the perfect job for you, we recommend that you research thoroughly before applying. The gaming industry is so well documented that you know what type of studio you'll be entering before you even apply. And if there is no studio which you're willing to work for, you could always go at it alone. But that, of course, brings some other challenges. If you want to learn more about the gaming industry, then I highly recommend you click that video on screen. YouTube has selected it specifically for you. But before you do that, make sure that you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You've done it? Awesome. Now it's time to click that video.